Finally, you will learn about the scoping rules in R. This rule helps R define the environment where it can look for specific names. When you call the search function, R will return all the environments in the current session. R will also look for variables in this environment in the same order. So the first environment that R will look up names is the global environment. The second environment is the Tools RStudio environment, and the last environment is the package-based environment. It is also important to note that any name you define in a function lives only in the function while the function is getting executed. For example, in this average function I have defined here, the name, numerator, and denominator only lives in the function while the function is getting executed. Even if I source this code, I cannot ask for numerator or denominator to be printed out because they do not live in any of the listed environments. Numerator and denominator will only live within the scope of the function and only while the function is getting executed. So I cannot ask for any of these names to be printed outside the function definition. That will result in an error. Another thing you may have noticed is that I have defined the argument as data even though I am using the name x within the function definition. Let's see how this will affect the function. Let's say I have a variable named x in the global environment and a vector is assigned to x. Let's move on to get this function into the environment. It's already defined there. Okay, that's the function there, but I just want to do it again. Okay, so if I call average and provide another vector 3, 2, 4. Okay, so we know the result should be 9 divided by 3, which should give us 3. But we're getting 5. We're getting 5 because we're actually using x in the function, and since x is not defined within the function, R will look for x in the list of environments returned when we called search, and the first item there is the global environment. So the first place R will search for the name x is in the global environment, and we had already defined x in the global environment, and we know that the average for x as defined here is 5. That is 7 plus 3 plus 5. That's 15 divided by 3. Okay, 15 divided by 3 is 5, and that's why we're getting this value here. So because of how we have defined this function, it really doesn't matter what argument we provide here when we call the function, okay, because the name of the argument here is not the same as the name of the name used in the function.